Hello. Welcome to Empowered You. In this space today, we are going to connect with the full moon's energy. Now, this is a space where we meet twice a month for personal development, business expansion, self growth, spiritual growth, and alignment to your manifestations, alignment to your best self, alignment to your divine union within yourself and outside of yourselves in relationships. And today is an important day because we're going to talk about the energy of May 31st, which is this Sunday. Wherever you are in the world, it might change depending where you are located in your time zone. So take a look to see when this full moon in Sagittarius actually is in your time zone. Why is this moon important? Well, this is the second full moon in a month, so it's considered a rare full moon. They call it the blue moon, and it's the most important date of the year this coming Sunday on May 31st. And why is it important? Why do you care about the full moon energy? Well, since I have been expanding and growing and became a spiritual teacher and have been working with energies, I have realized that the human body is attuned to the cycles of the planet, to the cycles of the moon. And it's not no spiritual woo-woo shit. It's actually listening to the universe. The universe is a direct reflection, a mirror of what we go through here on this planet. And if you look at many different religion, philosophies, and spiritual wisdoms and textbooks, they do talk about learning how to read these energies and cultivate them and embody them in your life so that you can go where you're going or align with what you desire or manifest what you want. And so today we're going to talk about the moon energy and using the moon, the cycles of the moon, which changes every day. Every 2 weeks, there's a new moon and a full moon. And if you start to pay attention to your own cycle, to what you're moving through, you'll start to see a pattern. And that's what I started to do the first year I started to tap into this. As I was healing my pain from my spinal injury, I was deeply curious to see how else can I support myself and my journey and take my power back. And the moon cycles was an important part. I wasn't into astrology back then, and I'm still learning about it, but it's all very intuitive to me. And the new moons are a chance for you to set intentions, for you to realign with your thoughts, realign with your intentions, and take actions from 1 month to the next, right? And through that, if you do that every day while setting the intentions on the new moon, then you should start seeing a difference on the next moon. And the next new moon, you reflect and see, wow, what manifested? What did I create? What did I do? What adjustments need to be done? Now on the full moon, it is where the moon is shining the most, right? And it's illuminating the parts of us that we finally get to look at. And I love the full moon because this is where we get to play in the shadows. We get to play in the unseen energy. And why is that important? Well, it's important for you to change. You can't grow if you don't see what's not seen, what's in the subconscious mind. The full moon's attached to the emotions. It illuminates the part of you that you've been hiding, that you've been avoiding, let's say. And so the major transformations I've had in my life is when I've been attuned to these cycles, not only as a feminine, because masculine men or masculine energies in general, right? Because we all have feminine and masculine within us. It's also important for you guys to use the moon for your personal and spiritual growth. And because the full moon illuminates what you don't see, it's a prime time to just pause, to reflect, to be in touch with silence, with your emotions, to be in touch with those parts of you that you've been hiding, that you don't want to look at, that you're avoiding. And this full moon, because it's the blue moon, it is going to amplify. It is going to be a huge karmic shift in timeline if you choose to use the energy. And this is why it's so important to be able to pause and wherever you are in the world, masculine, female, it doesn't matter. Allow yourself to connect to something bigger. We all know there's a Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi works, we have internet. And this internet allows us to connect to other places around the world. It allows us, the Wi-Fi allows us to connect to people across the world. And it's the same thing with the cycles of the moon. It's the same thing with the cycles of the energy. If we tune into the month's energy, we can really transform not only ourselves personally, spiritually, mentally, especially, and physically, but business wise. And so, in my journey, the last 3, 4 years, I've been working with the cycles of the moon. And it has allowed me to really hone in on things that I need to change, I need to look at. And so, with this full moon, this energy is illuminating the parts of us that we don't want to look at in the subconscious. It is a karmic shift that we get to tap into. And that's what I'm going to talk about today is how do we use this energy to change, to release the things that we don't want to release. Hello, guys. Welcome, welcome. And so, if we pause and we look at this energy and we use this energy to not only shed those versions of us that are no longer, that we want to outgrow, right? We all have a mission, we all have a desire, a destination, we all want love, we all want more money. But we tend to do this on the mental mindset. And this allows us to drop in and look at this energy. And so, this full moon, which again, if you're coming in now, is May 31st on Sunday. And it's a big astrological moment in our lives where we actually get to consciously shift into somewhere to another timeline, another version of ourselves. With this full moon, it talks about truth and expansion. It talks about what energy are you ready to outgrow. So look at your life. Where are you ready to outgrow? Is it mental habits? Is it addictions? Is it maybe a limiting belief, self-sabotage? Is it a relationship? These patterns, if we look at them on Sunday, and the moon lasts 3 days, right? So we can work with this energy. And I deeply work with my clients in this energy. And I've seen major transformations just from embodying energies and being mindful and vigilant of what they are and what are they doing here, right? How can we use them to cultivate a better relationship with ourselves and with life? So this full moon, it talks about seeking freedom. What does freedom mean to you? Getting very clear on who you were and who do you not want to be anymore and where do you want to go. So I'll give you an example. Right now it's a karmic cycle, which means that there's a lot of lessons. So if you look at your life, the last 5 months, let's say January, look at what has been hesitant, what has been challenging, where has been your emotional. We might be experiencing depression. For me, it's been a whole identity shift of who I am again and how I'm showing up in my business. And most of us are going through some type of change. And if you are feeling like it's not a part of you, then just pause and say, am I denying this part? Am I in my ego? Am I holding on so tightly to life, to my old version of self, and not wanting to change? Because that's going to stop you from making your millions, from aligning to the best relationship. Most importantly is aligning to yourself, like your best version of self. And that's my goal. Every day I wake up, every day I work with my clients, is aligning to freedom, to internal love, to joy, to radiating your most authentic self, working through your own ego so that you can align to your best life. And that might come in money, that might come in finances, that might show up in a business. But we're all here to look at these next few days and really take a moment to journal. I have my journal here and look at what am I ready to be radically honest, right? What part of my life is not working for me anymore? Where am I struggling? And be radically honest with yourself. What is keeping you stuck? So if you're clear, this is a good time to do it within the next few days, right? So today is what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is a good time to take some notes and be radically honest with yourself. And if you have any questions as you're coming in, you could just drop them in the chat and I'll answer them. Thank you, Michael, for joining. And so be radically honest with yourself. Get yourself out of the mind and the ego and write down where you're unhappy in life. Where are you unhappy with yourself? What are the habits, addictions, limiting beliefs, programs, and patterns, things that are not working out for you that you're really exhausted or burnt out? Write those down. And with this full moon on Sunday, when Sunday comes, what I love to do is a beautiful ritual, which is everything that I wrote down, I rewrite on Sunday, the day of the full moon, because when the full moon is at its peakest, that energy radiates to us. So we're all getting these beautiful energies from the full moon, and it's illuminating our emotions. So if you pay attention around the full moon, people get emotional. I'm guilty of that. I feel all these emotions. I'm very empathic, but I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a beautiful gift that I get to see, like, ooh, why am I emotional? What is moving through me? Is this mine or is this someone else's? And what can I transform so that I can use this energy to transform my limiting belief or my programmings or this version of me that no longer can come with me, so then I can let it go on Sunday. And then next month, I'm working and taking action, setting goals towards becoming the better version of me. And this full moon in Sagittarius is about self, is where are you seeking freedom? Sagittarius is an energy of the explorer. He wants or she wants to travel. She wants to experience joy and pleasure and not be so honed in on work and burnout and life struggles and the pressures of life. So if you find yourself stressed out, burnt out, or the 9 to 5 job and just repeating that cycle, this is for you. This is for you to pause and be intentional, to reevaluate your life, reevaluate your goals, reevaluate your emotional health. How do you want to feel? If you are not super happy and manifesting and living your best life, then most likely you're out of alignment somewhere. And most of us, I'm speaking from my experience and from what I see in clients, is we're really programmed to be in survival mode, especially those that lived in the United States and Europe. We were programmed to hustle and grind, to work 8 to 9 hours a day, to come home and give to the family. And the self, our self, was never included in that equation. And this is why we see massive depression, massive suicides, massive disharmony, unhappiness. I was there. That was me 5 years ago, right? Until I said, fuck this, no more. I am ready to get to know myself on a different level, get to know myself and the God within me, and really start to live my life for me. And then when my cup is full, I give. So this energy leading up to the next few days into Sunday is inviting you to pause, to stop, to look within, to see what are the changes you need to happen, okay? And we're gonna get into that, some of that in a few minutes. We're gonna take like 5 minutes to just reflect, and if anybody has any questions, I'll open up the mic. But this Sunday, if you've been out of alignment, let's say you've been in a relationship, for example, and it hasn't been the best, and you know that it's not the best and healthiest for you, but you're attached because what if life is worse when I break up with that person? Or what if what people think? Or society's has this imprint or this certain stigma on marriage, divorce, whatever this be. If you are in things that you're not meant to be and your soul's ready to have something different, this full moon is gonna have an energy of rapid endings, unexpected shifts, closed relationships. So we might see people quit their job, get fired, all of a sudden say, I'm leaving this job and I'm going to the next. To be honest, 5-6 years ago, around this time, around this full moon, I quit my dental career of 12 years and I dedicated my life to just teaching people how to better themselves, how to connect to their soul, learn the language of their soul, and how to use the energies, the quantum field, to manifest, to create the life that you want. Because you forgot that you are a creator. God gave you this beautiful gift to create your reality. But if we're living from the past and the subconscious mind, we're actually creating our life from the past all the time. And once I learned this and I healed my spine with this information, I couldn't go back to dentistry. And around the same full moon, I quit my job and everybody thought I was crazy. And I decided to become an entrepreneur and open my own business. And I haven't looked back. And it's been 5 years, and it's been the best decision I've made. I put myself first, divorced, put myself first, and started to fill my cup. And when I'm full, I could give to my children. When I'm full, I could give to my clients. But if I'm running on empty, then I don't have anything else to give, nonetheless, to others than myself. And this full moon is going to really shine a light on that. Where are you stuck? Where are you still not making the decisions that you should have made a long time ago? So expect unexpected changes, revelations. You might have an aha moment. You might be sitting and saying, wow, I just thought, or this just came through, that why am I in this connection? Why am I settling and people pleasing? Why am I in friendships that no longer give to me? These revelations are huge. This is your soul speaking to you. And this is the time to pause and take serious notes on that information. You know, I usually feel the energy a couple months before. So this energy has been affecting me the last couple months. My whole life has changed. I had to revamp my connections, my friendships, and most importantly, my mental frame. And I started to notice that what was coming online for me the last couple months is a lot of things from childhood, old beliefs, fears, lack mindset. And when you are intentional and you pause and you slow down and you become aware of your thoughts, you can change them. So as in the slowing down, which is self-love, I started to notice, ooh, I'm in lack right now, or I'm in fear. That is not me. That is my mother's wound, or that's my father's limitation. That is not my truth. And the minute you pause and the minute you claim your sovereignty in that moment, guess what are you doing in the quantum field? You're actually rewriting that energy, right? So I discussed about becoming or being the Wi-Fi channel. Your thoughts are the signals that go out. Your brain is a Wi-Fi channel. Your thoughts go out and it has the experience and what you live. So the minute you become aware of a thought, a pattern, and you question it, and you trace where it's coming from, which is shadow work and inner child, it's what I love to do with clients, and you catch it and you say, no, 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 no. That is not my truth. My truth is I am abundant. I trust God. I trust in myself. I am wealthy. I am abundant. Even though I might not see it all in front of me right now, I let go and I trust in the divine. Or I trust that I deserve a better marriage or love. And so in that pause, in the saying, I'm not claiming that thought or belief because it's not mine, you are energetically changing your Wi-Fi channel. The signal that leaves your brain and your body is now different, and you will start to create and see a different reality. Now, why do people quit or don't even start? It's because it requires a devotion. Part of yourself has to devote yourself to showing up for yourself every day, to questioning your thoughts, to be radically honest with yourself. And most people don't want to look at their emotions because we were taught that emotions are bad, that we shouldn't feel them and we should stuff them. Well, I hate to tell you that when we stuff our emotions, it comes out as disease, it comes out as anxiety, it comes out as many other health problems, and even shows up and manifests in our life being unhappy or things not working out. But from my experience and my clients, when we are tuning into those, when we are doing that inner work, then the outside, right, bringing harmony and stabilization inside your body and your energetic field, we notice that, wow, outside, things start to manifest. Things, synchronicities start to come that they look like miracles. And I talk about this all the time. I experience miracles in my life daily because I'm constantly doing the inner work. And I created what's called the source alignment method, which is a lifestyle, so that you can constantly be aligning to the best version of yourself and stabilizing a foundation that is whole, that is confident, that is certain, and that attracts beautiful things, not the opposite things, right? And it starts with you. And so, if you haven't done this before, you've never even heard about this work, or if you've been following me or you're a client, you know that this full moon is very important because you get to change. You get a huge opportunity that you won't get for the rest of the year to say, no more, I choose this. And I'll give you an example personally for me. I've noticed in the last couple of months, I've been working really hard on subconscious beliefs and programs. And as I catch them and I become aware of them, I pause. So I could be on my phone or I could be with a client and a thought comes in. And instead of me ignoring it, I actually say, oh, hold on, let me rephrase this. Let me not feed into this thought. And I auto-correct it in the moment. And that has allowed me to become more abundant, have more love in my life, align to a prosperous business, and have amazing people in my life that can reflect the work that I've been doing. And this full moon is going to support that, especially in relationships. So look and scan your life. What relationships are working? What are the relationships are equal give and take? And what are the relationships, people, situation, and past stories am I holding on to just because of fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of being alone? You know, the strength comes in riding solo until the right people come into your life. And I rather ride solo until the right people come into my life, because I no longer give my energy to something that's not an equal give and take, because I found my self-worth, my value, and I honor the work that I do on myself every day. And that's what this full moon is going to ask you to do. That's what this energy is asking you to do. Going into June, you have a huge window of opportunity to change your life drastically if you can just pause this next few days, right? The full moon energy lasts 3 days, 3 days before and 3 days after. So take a few moments and give yourself that self-love by journaling, writing down the things, and then be very clear on what you want. What are your goals? Okay. This moon as well brings stability, right? And harmony. It offers a stable foundation and it helps you rebuild yourself, maybe a new job. So if you're not happy in your new job, look at that. Your job, look at that. You might be looking for a new job. And the idea is when Source, God is helping you, when you help yourself, if you're not happy in a job and you're miserable, let's say an example, and you finally say, you know what, I accept it. That's just true. What the hell have I been doing for the last 10 years? This shit sucks. I'm ready to leave. The minute you say, I am worthy to leave, I don't care. I don't know what's coming. I don't know. There's fear. I don't know what to expect. But I'm ready to make this change. Trust that God will bring you something better. Trust that God will bring you someone, something, an opportunity, an offer, an idea that's going to change your life. And I speak because it's happened to me many times, over and over and over. God doesn't help you until you help yourself. Many people will say, well, when I see it, I will do it, right? And that's ego. That's driven by fear. From experience, I've had to take the jump. I've had to jump and say yes to things, especially to my own ego. And then I received the miracle on the other side, right? For example, when I moved to Tulum a few years ago, I received a message in meditation. It was like, go back to Connecticut, sell your Mercedes, sell everything that you have. And I was like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? Like, why? And I knew already then that when things like that came, the fear, wherever there's fear, that is where you should go, right? So I knew that because I heard that in meditation and I trusted because I received many beautiful miracles, including healing my spine by then. I was like, all right, I don't know why. You don't need to know the why. The why is the ego trying to control. I said, I'm going to do it. What's the worst thing that could happen, right? I went, sold everything. When I came back, my doors opened to my business. Clients flooded in. I met my consciousness teacher. All these things happened, but it wasn't until I did the thing that was scary. That's the biggest key thing here. Do the thing that is scary, and you'll start to see the changes. You know, most of my clients are men. I have this Empowered You group, which is what you're on now. And if you're seeing this in the future, sending love. If you're here, thank you again, because your energy is felt, is seen, and you're cultivating and manifesting this portal of healing here in this present moment, and when you're seeing this in the future. But when I'm working with men, they get really attached, and so forth, because that's how they were trained, that's how they were raised, that they have to be the provider and stability, and they can't feel their emotions, they can't do radical changes because of the fear, and it keeps them in a box. You know, this is all you know. For example, I was a dental hygienist. If I would have had that mindset and went to school for 7 years, if I would have had the mindset as, well, I spent 40K on my schooling, if not more. I spent 7 years on my schooling, and how can I leave that profession? If I spent my life in that career, I probably would have been miserable for the rest of my life. And you only have one life to live. At a soul level, you're not meant to be stuck anywhere with anything, have attachments. You're supposed to be free. And this full moon is asking you, where do you want to be free? What does freedom look to you? What does freedom, how does it feel? And how can you create freedom in your life moving forward by letting go of the things that don't serve you? And so again, in the beginning of the class, I was talking about full moons are about releasing. So every month, the cycles shift, right? Full moon, we have them once a month usually. This full moon, this is why it's special. There's the second full moon, which means that this is huge growth. It is awakening to something bigger. It is awakening that what you're doing right now is not working and you need to change some things. This full moon is shining the light on old habits and limiting thoughts, especially. So a good practice that I'm going to discuss is writing down, okay, what are my thoughts? Okay, I don't feel I'm worthy, or I'm in lack. I don't know what's coming, or how am I going to pay rent next month, or my mortgage, or I'm never going to find love. Like, what are your limiting thoughts? Really get radically honest and write them down on a piece of paper. Then write down, what are your habits? Okay. Watching TV, watching the news, smoking weed, watching porn, speaking bad about myself, speaking bad about others, being shy, not speaking my truth because I don't want to offend people. These are things that we need to be clear. Write them down on a piece of paper. And on the full moon, on Sunday, write it down, rip it apart, and then burn the paper. It sounds witchy and crafty, but it's not. It's actually called written alchemy. And in the quantum field, when we write things down, we're actually taking it out of our mind and into paper, right? And so you're no longer have those vibrational frequencies and those thoughts in your mind. You're putting it on paper. When you burn it, you're telling the universe, I am ready to let this go. And so what happens on a full moon is the universe supports you. The universe says, this person is finally doing something about them. They're finally taking charge of their damn life. They're no longer in victim mode, and they're finally taking action towards what they want. Let me support them. And so when I do these rituals, right, I do them on new moons and full moons. New moons we manifest, full moons we release. When I do that and I burn it, to tell you the truth, it's been 5 years since I've been doing that. I have seen radical change month to month on the way I think, the way I speak, the way I radiate, the way I breathe, the way my energy is more empowered, more self-love. I've seen a huge difference. And we could say this is woo-woo shit, but I've studied a lot of quantum physics stuff. I've studied how there's quantum entanglement, and it's proven that your thoughts and an emotion create your reality. So when you can pause and write things down, get them out of your mind, you're getting them out of your field. When you're burning something, now you're disintegrating the energy behind that. So an example, let's say you've been betrayed in a relationship. Write it down. I release or I break free. I like to say break free. I break free from anger, resentment, betrayal, whatever it is. I break free from the limitations of my mind. And as more specific you can be, the better it is. And when you write it down and you rip it and you burn it, in your mind, you want to set the intention. I'm breaking free from this. I am breaking free from this pattern, this programming, and I'm opening myself to the best version of self. And you might not know who that version of you is just yet, but trust that as you're releasing the ego mind, you're releasing old emotions, you're creating space in your body, in your energetic body, in your mental body, in your emotional body and spiritual body. And what happens is more light, more God consciousness comes in, and you feel more love. You feel, that's how I healed my spine. I was practicing a lot of releasing, a lot of shadow work, a lot of inner child work. The more space I created in my field, when I meditated and channeled source energy, it vibrated through every cell of my body. I felt an instant dose of love. And it's why I teach and coach this to CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, because we are here for something bigger. We are here for showing what's possible and for tapping into our uniqueness so that we can bring it out to the world and help humanity. And we're moving towards the summer where there's going to be a lot of things brought to light, a lot of spiritual awakenings, a lot of people depressed, a lot of people seeing life differently. And this is the process that I went through 5 years ago, so I know how hard it was. I thought I was going crazy. I didn't see life the same anymore. I couldn't be in my 9-to-5 job. It physically hurt me. Physically just hurt my heart, my body. I was sick. I was depressed. I was suicidal. And it was in these small little changes that I've embodied that what I teach, right, and what I always talk about is what created a massive, massive push forward into my destiny, into me really being embodied and connected to something deeper that you cannot see, but you can feel. And when I get depressed or when I get sad or when those limiting beliefs come through and I sit and cultivate that practice, that inner union within me, that sparks up trust and faith, and I jump out of it, right? And if it wasn't for my practices, I wouldn't be here, right? If I didn't have those practices to go to, including the rituals and learning about energy and astrology and learning about the soul and learning about the mind, most importantly, the subconscious mind and our habits and our programs, I wouldn't be here today, because at one point I was suicidal 5 years ago when I was in so much physical and emotional pain. But through this work, it has allowed me to really die as an identity and rebirth myself over and over. So I've had like 2 death and rebirths since then, really hard ones. And a lot of it is usually you finally looking back at, why do you think the way you do? Why do you act the way you do? Why do you speak the way you do? What are your habits, right? Like all those are programmed from your childhood, from your heartbreaks, from the, from you being younger and those traumas. And you might not have experienced traumas, or you might have, like me, but it could be just as simple as your parents didn't give you the love and attention, or they told you to be quiet all the time. That imprinted you and who you have become. And it's time that we finally see our power, that we finally see God within us, that we finally see that we create our reality. And how do we adjust and how do we adapt using the energy, using thought, using emotion to create the lifestyle, the reality, the love, the relationship, the marriage, the business that we desire. And that's what is so important about today and about this full moon, because it is a huge portal, a huge shot of energy that we get to use to burn this shit down, to burn the ego. So I'm super excited to drop down on my journal this weekend and really shed the layers of me that are keeping me small, that are keeping me from showing up online like I want to, that are keeping me from fears, right? And old programming that my parents unconsciously inhibit or put on me, right? And we all have them. So it's not like one of us or one person in the world doesn't have this. But it is time to reclaim your power. And I'm super excited about this Sunday. And so, if nonetheless, anything that you walk away from this class, this workshop, is to pause and to really be radically honest with yourself. Where are you playing small? What do you want differently? What do you want to feel? How do you want to act? And if you need support, I am opening my container for my men's one-to-one coaching that I just finished with 3 beautiful, amazing guys. And I am opening up 3 spaces for the next 12 weeks. So if you're interested, or you're women, of course, I do them separate. I would love to hold you in space and really customize my container, my coaching with you, and give you the guidance, the support, the framework, and the everyday methods and practices to help you change your life. But nonetheless, what's most important is for you to pause this weekend, for you to say, where am I going? What cannot come with me? And what am I ready to cultivate after Sunday? And you'll see, if you write it down on your calendar, from this Sunday, the 31st, to the following full moon in June, notice what has changed. Has your thoughts changed? Has your emotions changed? Have these old habits changed? You know, I used to be addicted in smoking weed. And when I did this a couple months back to back, I started to realize that one day I was like, oh shit, I'm not even smoking weed anymore. It just was not in my field. I didn't have the desire anymore because I worked on the root cause of me smoking weed, which was emotions that were stuck and that I did not want to see. And when I worked through that, every month, by the second month, I was done. I wasn't even smoking weed. And that was a habit that I had formed since I was a teenage, until my mid 40s. Well, I'm 44 now. So early 30s, mid 30s. So if this speaks to you, if this is something that you can resonate with, please write down in the comments. If it helped you, I'll create more of these. If you want to join any of my workshops, send me a message. I would love to have you. If you want private mentorship, there's an application I can send you if you're interested. And again, remember, you only have one fucking life to live. Stop playing small. Stop escaping and start taking your life serious, because you can have it all. And I'm speaking from experience and from what I see and feel and see in my clients and see in my life, and it is possible. So if this spoke to you, I hope that it spoke to your heart, to your soul, and it gave you the confidence and the encouragement that you need to move forward, to create a better life. And I'll see you the next time. Thank you.